Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a deep dive into Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a very popular book.
Got incredible reviews on Goodreads.
Yeah, it's got like a 4.18-star average rating.
Over 350,000 ratings.
It's the #1 personal wealth book
Of the century.
And he had this really interesting process for researching the book, right?
Yeah, he spent 20 years interviewing 500 successful people.
Wow.
Like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie.
Yeah, and like figuring out what made them tick, right?
Yeah, he wanted to figure out like what were the principles behind success.
So what was his kind of key takeaway?
Well, I think his first main point is that it all starts with desire, but not just like wanting something, but like a burning desire that becomes an obsession.
Desire. Yeah.
Like the first and most crucial step.
And he gives a great example of this in the book.
Yeah, he talks about Edwin Barnes, who had this burning desire to work with Thomas Edison.
Didn't he have like no connections to Edison?
Yeah, he had no connections. He hitched a ride on a freight train
Wow.
just to get to Edison's office, and then basically just wouldn't leave until Edison gave him a job. And then he worked his way up and became Edison's business partner.
Okay, that's the burning desire right there.
That's the burning desire.
Like, I'm not leaving until I get what I want.
Absolutely. And Hill actually provides 6 specific steps to transform desire into reality.
6 steps, okay.
Including setting concrete goals, timelines.
Timelines, yeah.
Even reading your plan aloud twice a day.
That's interesting.
Kind of unusual.
So write out what you want and then read it every day.
Yeah, morning and night.
It's like you're affirming it, right?
Yeah, you're affirming it, you're putting it out there.
It's interesting. So it sounds like he's got this kind of psychological bent to his thinking about all of this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what's really interesting about this book is that it's not just about like,
tactics,
the practical steps, but it's about your mindset.
Yeah.
And he talks about, confidence is key. Believing in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals.
Yeah, if you don't believe it,
you're not going to get there.
You're not going to get there.
And it's really fascinating because he goes into how, a confident mindset unlocks mental energy and wisdom that helps you face challenges with self-assuredness.
If you are confident that you can overcome something, then you're much more likely to actually overcome it.
Absolutely.
But if you're afraid of it, you're probably going to run away from it.
And he even talks about this concept of autosuggestion, which is basically like repeatedly feeding your subconscious with positive affirmations.
So like self-hypnosis kind of?
In a way, yeah. It's like programming your mind for success, which might sound a little bit strange to some people.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit out there.
But it's about, recognizing the power of our thoughts, program ourselves for success.
And like the opposite of that is like negativity bias, right? Where you're always focused on what's wrong.
Yeah, our minds tend to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
But we can actually consciously shift our focus.
We can train ourselves.
We can train ourselves.
Okay, so that's really interesting.
And I think, it's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, it's very easy to focus on the negative.
We got to work on that. And he talks about, in addition to confidence and desire, you need knowledge.
Knowledge, right.
But he distinguishes between general knowledge and specialized knowledge.
Specialized knowledge, yeah.
So general knowledge is kind of like what everyone has access to.
Right.
But specialized knowledge is what sets you apart.
It's like the expert knowledge, right?
Exactly. And that can lead to wealth creation.
Because you're the only one or one of the few people who knows this thing.
Yeah, you have a unique skill set or a unique understanding.
So you can charge a premium for it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But then he also says specialized knowledge alone isn't enough. You need unique insights and imagination to see opportunities that others might miss.
So it's not enough to just know a bunch of stuff. You have to be able to see how to apply it.
You have to be able to connect the dots.
To see the opportunities that other people aren't seeing.
And he gives this great example of a secretary who helped her son get his dream job by crafting a unique resume and action plan.
So she used her knowledge and her imagination.
Exactly. She thought outside the box. And she was able to help her son stand out from the crowd.
That's really cool.
And, he goes into, a little deeper and talks about the 2 types of imagination, synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination is about combining existing concepts into something new.
Okay, that makes sense.
And creative imagination is about coming up with completely new ideas.
Yeah.
And he uses the example of Steve Jobs and the iPhone as a product of synthetic imagination.
So combining the touchscreen with
the MP3 player, the internet, all these things that already existed.
Yeah.
But he combined them in this really unique and powerful way.
That changed the world.
That changed the world. And it's really about, challenging yourself to think, like, which one do you use more often?
The synthetic or the creative?
Yeah. Are you more of a combiner, or are you more of a, coming up with completely new things?
Right. That's really interesting.
And I think it's something that, we can all benefit from thinking about.
It's like figuring out your strength. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's knowledge, imagination, confidence, and desire.
But there's another crucial element that Hill emphasizes in Think and Grow Rich, and that's action.
Action. Of course.
Because all the dreaming and visualizing in the world won't get you anywhere if you don't actually take action.
Yeah, you got to actually do something.
You got to do something. Hill says, and I quote, "Ideas are like the seeds of a plant. They have potential, but they need to be planted and nurtured to bear fruit."
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we turn those ideas into action? What does Hill suggest?
He emphasizes the importance of organized planning.
Organized planning.
Having a detailed plan outlining the steps you'll take to achieve your goal.
So it's not enough to just have like a vague idea like, oh, I want to be rich.
Right, you need a specific plan.
You need to break it down into smaller steps.
Exactly, break it down into manageable steps.
Okay.
And he even recommends writing down your plan and reviewing it regularly.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So you can make adjustments as needed. Stay on track, stay focused.
Because it's so easy to get distracted, right?
Absolutely, life gets in the way. But even with the plan, you're going to face challenges.
Oh, for sure.
And that's where persistence comes in. Hill dedicates a whole chapter to this principle.
He does.
Arguing that persistence is the key to overcoming obstacles and achieving lasting success.
That makes sense.
He says, and this is a great quote, "Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and backing those plans with persistence which does not recognize failure, will bring riches."
So it's not enough to just want it. You have to be obsessed with it. You have to plan it out, and you have to not give up, even when you fail.
Because failure is inevitable.
Failure is part of the process.
He uses the example of Henry Ford.
Oh, yeah, Henry Ford.
Who faced countless setbacks and failures on his path to revolutionizing the car industry.
But he never gave up.
He learned from his mistakes, adapted his plans, and persisted until he achieved his vision. It's inspiring, but it's also, it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
It's easy to get discouraged when things get tough.
Right. I mean, most people probably would have given up way before Henry Ford did.
Absolutely. But he had that persistence. He had that unwavering belief in himself and his vision.
So how do we cultivate that kind of persistence?
Hill emphasizes the importance of maintaining a positive mindset.
Positive mindset, okay.
Even in the face of adversity.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done, but it's possible. He encourages us to focus on our goals, visualize our success, and remind ourselves why we started in the first place.
So it's about keeping that fire burning, even when things are tough.
And he also talks about the importance of having a supportive community.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Remember the Mastermind group we talked about earlier?
Yeah, the group of like-minded individuals.
Yeah, who support and challenge each other.
And they hold each other accountable.
Absolutely. They help you stay motivated and focused.
Yeah, because when you're doing something hard, it's so much easier to give up if you're doing it by yourself.
Absolutely. You need that support system. And Hill believed that a mastermind group can amplify your intelligence and creativity.
Amplify your intelligence.
Help you achieve things you might never accomplish on your own.
So it's like a synergy.
It's a synergy, a collaboration.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, so we've talked about desire, confidence, knowledge, imagination, action, and persistence.
And the mastermind.
And the mastermind, yeah.
We're hitting all the key points.
We are hitting the key points, but there's more.
Hill also explores some pretty unconventional ideas.
Unconventional? Okay, I'm intrigued.
Are you ready to dive into those?
Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the most talked about and maybe even controversial ideas in the book is the power of sexual transmutation.
Sexual transmutation. Now, hold on a second.
I know what you're thinking.
I was going to say, what exactly do we mean by that?
It's not what you might think at first glance.
Okay, good.
Hill believed that sexual energy is a potent force.
Okay.
And when properly channeled, it can fuel creativity, ambition, and drive.
So it's not about suppressing or denying sexual desire.
Not at all.
It's about redirecting it.
Redirecting it towards a different purpose.
Okay.
He argued that many highly successful individuals throughout history have, either consciously or unconsciously, practiced some form of sexual transmutation.
So they're taking that energy and they're putting it into their work or their creative pursuits.
Exactly. They're channeling it into something productive.
I can see how that could be powerful.
It is powerful, but it's also, a bit of a sensitive topic.
Yeah, it is. And I imagine it's been met with some skepticism over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Some people might find it a little bit out there. But I think it's important to remember that Hill was writing in a different time with a different cultural context.
So we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even if we set aside the specific idea of sexual transmutation.
I think there's a valuable takeaway here.
Okay, what's that?
It's about the power of harnessing and redirecting our energy towards our goals.
So taking that energy, that drive, that passion, and focusing it on something that we want to achieve.
Exactly. And I think that's a principle that applies regardless of how you interpret the concept of sexual transmutation.
So it's about self-discipline.
Self-discipline, focus,
Yeah.
and really being intentional with our energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about all these amazing ideas from Think and Grow Rich.
All these principles for success.
Desire, confidence, action, persistence, even some of the more out there concepts like sexual transmutation.
Right. And the sixth sense.
The sixth sense, yeah. But I feel like there's something missing, something that ties everything together.
You're right, there is. And it's something that Hill emphasizes throughout the book. It's the idea that true success is about more than just material wealth.
Okay, so it's not just about getting rich.
It's not just about the money. It's about aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions with a greater purpose.
A greater purpose.
Yep.
Okay, so something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. Something that transcends our individual desires. Hill calls this our definite chief aim.
Definite chief aim. That sounds pretty important.
It is. It's about identifying your core purpose in life.
Your core purpose.
A driving force behind everything you do. It's not just about what you want to achieve, but why you want to achieve it.
So it's like your North Star.
Exactly. Your guiding principle. It's about connecting your goals to a higher ideal.
So that your actions are meaningful.
Meaningful, purposeful. Hill believed that when we connect our goals to a definite chief aim, we tap into a source of limitless energy and motivation.
It's like we're aligned with something bigger.
Exactly. And he even suggests that when we do this, we attract opportunities, resources, people who can help us achieve our goals.
So it's like the universe is conspiring to help us.
In a way, yes. When we're aligned with our purpose, things just seem to fall into place.
Okay, so how do we figure out what our definite chief aim is?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah, it sounds kind of daunting.
Hill suggests that we reflect on our values, our passions, our unique talents.
What are we good at? What do we love to do?
Exactly. What problems are we drawn to solve? What kind of impact do we want to make on the world?
So it's about self-discovery.
It is a process of self-discovery, and it's not a one-time thing.
Right, it's ongoing.
As we grow and evolve, our definite chief aim might also change.
So we have to stay open to new possibilities.
Absolutely. But the key is to always be striving for alignment between our actions and our core purpose.
That makes sense. So it sounds like Think and Grow Rich is more than just a book about getting rich.
It's so much more. It's a book about living a fulfilling life, a life of purpose, and I think that's why it's resonated with so many people for so long.
Yeah, it's a timeless message. And I think it's a message that we all need to hear.
Especially in today's world.
Yeah, with all the distractions and all the noise.
It's easy to lose sight of what really matters.
So we have to remind ourselves of our definite chief aim and never give up on our dreams.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
If there's one thing I hope they remember, it's this. You have the power to create the life you desire. You have within you the potential for greatness. Believe in yourself, cultivate that burning desire, take action, and never give up on your dreams.
That's inspiring. And for our listeners, be sure to check out the show notes for a link to purchase Think and Grow Rich.
And other resources that we recommend.
We've also included links to some other great books that we think you'll enjoy.
And don't forget to leave us your own book suggestions in the comments. We love hearing from you. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, and share it with your friends.
We appreciate your support. And until next time, keep thinking, keep growing, and keep diving deep.